Hi, welcome to SVR Sports Picks. My name is Peter Loshak. It's week 7 in college football. Today is Friday, October 13th, and we are talking with Steve from collegefootballwinning.com, handicapping our usual Friday college football game late, close to kickoff. And the game that Steve has chosen right now is West Virginia and Texas Tech. This is an interesting one, Steve. Of course, Texas Tech playing very well, a very good version of Texas Tech this year, much better defensively. They're even running the ball more effectively. Now they're ranked, and they're on the road against West Virginia. Line opened at about 4.5, has now moved to 3.5, market wide, and West Virginia also playing pretty well, right? There were some question marks coming into the season, and I was actually thinking that West Virginia might maybe be a candidate to be an overvalued team and disappointing team, but that has really not happened. They've played very well. Will Greer at quarterback has done a great job. So the question is, at 3.5 in this spot, who has the edge? And my sense is probably it's going to be West Virginia. It's a close game, right? It's going to be a close game. Both teams very talented. I think West Virginia has a small but notable edge both on offense and defense against Texas Tech, despite the fact that Texas Tech is, a great team for what they are, both offensively and defensively this year. I think that the situation sets up for a cover by West Virginia, and I'm liking it at 3.5. And interestingly, despite both the fact that both these teams have huge offenses, the total has gotten bet down from the upper 70s down to the lower 70s. We have seen them play in recent years games that did not go as explosively high scoring as maybe we would have thought in recent years. So I can understand that line move, but I'm thinking West Virginia minus 3.5 is the play. What do you like here, Steve?
Well, Peter, we're going to be in agreement here.
Mm-hmm.
In trying to find value in this matchup, I think there's primarily football performance markers as opposed to betting data markers where I'm finding value here, but there's some interesting betting stuff here too. So let's focus on the football indicators. One team, Texas Tech, appears to be better than they are, and the other team, West Virginia, appears to be worse than they are. And if you say appears, well, there were a few ways of gauging that appearance, and one of them is, first of all, Texas Tech is 4-0-1 against the spread. So it looks like they're exceeding expectations according to the spread here. West Virginia just 2-3 against the spread so far this year. But what's been going on with their football performance? West Virginia has outgained their FBS opponents this year by an average of 110 yards per game. That should translate to West Virginia outscoring their opponents by an average of 7.69 points per game, so more than a touchdown per game. In reality, so final scores, West Virginia has been outscoring their opponents by an average of 11 points per game. So the difference between their offensive defense production and the actual final scores, the difference of 3.31 points. So they seem to be sort of outperforming themselves by a little more than a field goal. Texas Tech, on the other hand, outgained FBS opponents by an average of just 59.25 points per game. That should translate to Texas Tech outscoring their FBS opponents by an average of 4.14 points per game. But in reality, according to final scores, Texas Tech is outscoring their FBS opponents by 12.25 points per game. That's a difference, again, between offensive, defensive production and reality, actual final scores, of 8.11 points per game. So in other words, Peter, what I'm saying here is the false reality in terms of real offensive defensive production is greater. The false production is greater, false reality is greater with Texas Tech. So they seem to be better than they are. Now, some specific examples here to get our head around this concept. West Virginia lost last week to 6th ranked TCU in Fort Worth, so it was an away game for West Virginia, 31-24. So they lost by a touchdown. But West Virginia outgained, once again, 6th ranked TCU at TCU. They outgained them 508-406. By that kind of production, Peter, West Virginia should have beaten TCU by more than a touchdown instead of losing by a touchdown. Now, conversely, the only ranked team that Texas Tech has faced so far this year was 14th ranked Oklahoma State in Lubbock. So it's a home game for Texas Tech. Texas Tech lost by a touchdown, 41-34, but they were outgained by Oklahoma State 597-384. Texas Tech should have lost that game by around 15 points instead of losing by just that single touchdown. So the big question is why the stark disparity between offensive defensive production and reality, or those actual final scores? The safest general answer, Peter, and you're going to think I sound like a broken record, is turnover margin. Texas Tech right now is fifth in the FBS in turnover margin, while West Virginia is 49th. You might think, well, Texas Tech is better. That's a good thing, right? But you've heard me say this almost weekly now for years. Turnovers as a statistical category are the most impactful yet most unpredictable or random of the critically significant college football metrics. So sooner or later, there is going to be a regression to the mean in this somewhat random category. There always is. You simply cannot count on teams getting points off of turnovers. And Texas Tech has been significantly affected positively so far by points off of turnovers. Okay, let's switch gears now and examine some interesting, when I was really looking into this, some interesting betting data on this game. And my numbers are slightly different from yours, Peter. From consensus from most sports books, I got a consensus of West Virginia actually opening as a 6.5-point favorite. And they're now, most places, a 3.5-point favorite. For Texas Tech, when playing away from Lubbock, so away in any form, bowl games, neutral site, just non-home games, the last 3 seasons, the direction of the line movement from open to close has indicated the wrong side 12 out of 15 times. In other words, using this game as an example, Peter, West Virginia, by my numbers, by consensus, opened as a 6.5-point favorite, but they dropped to a 3.5-point favorite. That line movement would suggest to a lot of people that Texas Tech is the correct side. Well, that movement from, we haven't closed yet, but that movement suggesting that Texas Tech is the right side so far has been wrong 80% of the time the last 3 seasons when Texas Tech is away, like they are here. It's homecoming in Morgantown. They've been away for a month. This game is sold out. Last year, these Mountaineers delivered Cliff Kingsbury's Red Raiders their worst against the spread home loss since Cliff Kingsbury has been their head coach. So my conclusion as of right now, Peter, and it's possible it could change with some drastic betting movements or personnel changes between now and kickoff, but I like West Virginia -3, which means I like buying that half point off of -3.5, so long as you don't pay more than -125 for that half point. And that half point, you can get that for something less than -125 at places like Bookmaker and a couple of places, including the Caesars properties here in Las Vegas.
Yeah, all right. We're thinking the exact same way on this one, Steve, because as I look across the board here, I'm thinking to myself, I'd much rather be getting 3.5 before I make it an official pick, but I will take it. I'd much rather be getting 3 as opposed to 3.5 before I'm making an official pick. I definitely am not sure if I would have liked it at 6.5, but at 3.5, I am liking West Virginia. You know, Texas Tech, again, as you said, has some positives to them that are very real and very legit. I'm liking West Virginia, and you know what, Steve? I will add this one to my official record this week at 3.5. At Bookmaker and a few other places, it's -3.5, -105. So I'll take that one. West Virginia -3.5, -105 added to my official slate of picks this week. And that is also the pick Steve likes here, Texas Tech and West Virginia. Glad we're in agreement. I'm on it. Steve, tell us about your website, collegefootballwinning.com.
Great, Peter. I'd be happy to. And I just want to add, I would recommend that you go to, since you're going to Bookmaker and it's at -105, you can get -3 from -122 at Bookmaker. And anything under 125 or less, and we have calculated here at collegefootballwinning.com that there is value in buying that half point off of -3.5. At collegefootballwinning.com, all the company does is college football betting analysis. We're a company that's founded on making these college football betting recommendations using sets of algorithms. Those algorithmic betting recommendations we call our formula. The formula, the lifetime of the formula is 60.16% against the spread. Last season, it was 62.26% against the spread. This year, believe it or not, the formula has yet to start. It looks like we will be having enough data. We're hoping this week just sort of bears that out. But next week is our slated beginning of our formula. That's all good news. The bad news is people cannot join us right now. We are closed to new members. However, you can go to collegefootballwinning.com and you can get on our waiting list.
All right, sounds good, Steve. West Virginia, hope they cash this week. We'll talk to you next week.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to our channel. Now, we've put a lot of work into producing all these free videos, so please help us out and keep all our content free for you forever by simply liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Now, not to mention, a visit to our industry-leading website will warm the hearts of all our SBR employees, especially myself. Now, the links are over there to the left, so do check those out. Thanks for watching.